Good afternoon and welcome to Shed Sunday. I want to start wearing a hat on these. sorry for the glare. So what are we chatting about this afternoon? Recently got back from Finland. Got back, I missed probably the worst of the high winds, the storms that the UK had whilst we were away. Came back and there was a fair bit of work to do around site. Quite a few trees were down. So in the process of sorting out some of the windfall, the storm damage, one of the tools that I've been using for a while, this is from the Outdoor Professional Products range, their Trojan pruning saw. Absolute beast of a thing. I was 30 foot up an old ash, popping some limbs off, when actually one of the I noticed one of the bolts was missing. Still managed to finish the job just with the one bolt, but I got in touch and they sent me a replacement, no issues at all. What I also managed to get a hold of whilst chatting to them was this sharpening stone. So you might have seen on my posts a couple of days ago, we got it out, had a wee play with it, but what I fancied doing was just chatting through a few bits of how, just my first impressions. I've had it for a week or so, had it at the box, got it dirty, put a dent in it already, but just wanted to run through a few things with you. So, out the box, you get this clever little bamboo case. It's got built-in magnets that holds it in. It's quite smart, quite pretty. I think we could do something with the back, but I'll come back to that later on. So the puck itself, for a puck, it's pretty big. If you think of like the Gransfors, they're probably, about the size of a tennis ball. This is more kind of soft, more softball size. And it comes in two grits. So we've got a 320, which is a blue, and the 150, which is the black, so the coarser on the bottom. Now the beauty about having it that little bit bigger is it's quite a good crossover, because it's big enough to use as a bench stone. Now, worst thing, yeah, it's a water stone, so you do need to plonk it in some water before you use it. Which, I mean, for the size, a little takeaway tub works really well. And once it's in, you'll see it start to bubble straight away as the water is going into those pores. But once it stops bubbling, really like a minute or two, and you're good to go, kind of thing. You could probably do in the field with a water bottle. Just pour it over, just so we're not using it dry. Using it dry, I believe, will just rip up the particles, and it will ruin that flat finish. So where were we? Yeah, so decent size. Thinking about the tools that I use on a daily basis, I thought, well, actually, let's just plonk it on and see how good it is to go. So everyday carry is the I think this is the might be the climber, maybe the hiker, Victorinox model. 2 blades on it. So again, so UK legal size, but the beauty, look at that, full size. So either in your palm or on the bench, probably over there, somewhere solid, and you can use it fixed. So bench stone for those smaller blades. Let's look at a sort of normal bushcrafty style knife. Okay, what's that? That's probably just over your 3 inches. So that again, yeah, full size there. So that you can get the full blade on the stone. Starting to go off the bench now. If I'm not using a knife, not using a saw, these things do the majority of the work we do with groups. Creating stuff to make feather stakes, or do a little bit of whittling or something with them. Loppers are brilliant. Pain in the backside to sharpen, because of that big belly, that big curve. I don't know if this was planned or if it's just coincidence, but you can see how the puck just sits ever so much. I'll get that really close. So you're only really missing right in, so that first sort of 5 mil, where there's not much blade anyway. But that in the hand and just rotated, is it a bit of a half? A little, but that rotating movement, that works quite nicely. And I mean, you can see already how I'm getting that the material. I've not wet this stone, so this is just dry. I'm taking some of that surface paint off, finding that right angle. But I'd say, yeah, we can do a fairly decent job on that, on the loppers, on the secateurs with this puck. Now, there's no way I'm going to get to show you that, but I can. Oh, there we go. Actually, yeah, you can see the gap between the stone and the blade, next to none there, so you can get really good contact. So the pebble on the loppers, the winner. All right, next, axe. This is just my beast. This is primarily just for firewood splitting. See, I don't tend to use axes all that often, really. This, we've had it work for a while. I put it on a bench grinding disc, just something to get a bit of an edge. But like I say, it's not a refined tool. It's just for splitting. There's a bit, it's got a little bit of a bite on there. But now the beauty again of the puck, you can go really coarse with that, was that 150, eyeballing down the edge, and a nice big surface. So we're not doing little movements, we can actually cover the majority of the blade in one action. And I can see down the line of the blade, get that puck. And the beauty of the puck is you can feel the resistance in your hand. If I bend that really far, right, really exaggerated now, I can feel in the puck that it's cutting into the stone. If I flatten it out, I can feel there's next to no bite. And you can just gradually, there we go, increase that angle until you're getting a bit of that kinesthetic feedback. Ooh, a bit of that feel within the puck, and you can tell you've got the right angle. So you don't need to eyeball it. I'm at the stage where I think I'm starting to need glasses. I'm struggling to notice the edge on that, but the beauty of that puck is as you catch the angle, there we go, you can feel that it's biting, and that is going to be removing material. I don't know if you can make that out. Nah, probably not, but it's starting to just pick up a bit of that slurry, a bit of that material off the grinding stone, as well as some of the little metal shavings off of there. So puck on an axe, that's exactly what they're designed for. Now, I wanted to just go over one other bit of kit. I mean, I'm not using scythes or bill hooks or anything big like that, but what I do use an awful lot are these little folding saws. Now, if you have seen on any of sort of my previous videos, I love the kind of multi-tool nature of these bits of kit, and I did a whole video on how you can actually use this as a steel for flint and steel fire lighting. Downside of that is this back edge can get a little bit burred over. Also, it has quite a pronounced, this one's not too bad actually, but they can have folding saws quite a pronounced 90 degree. So you know, if you're doing any bark work, you're taking the outer bark off, like willow for example, if you're using that for cordage, you can scrape the green part of the bark off and leave you with the fibre. So the back of the saw, brilliant tool for that. But like I say, if for the flint and steel work, I'm going to be careful about those burrs. Why do we need to be careful about the burrs? one of the techniques we teach when we're introducing saws, now this goes through all the range of saws whilst we're working outdoors, is when we need to safeguard our hand when we're cutting. Here I run the risk, of course, of the saw bumping out and jumping into my hand. What we do teach is sawing like this. Okay, so all of a sudden I've got the back of this saw exposed against my forearm, and this technique comes with a big beware proviso, and that is that the back of this saw needs to be burr free and not sharp, and that's where the rough 150 side comes in perfectly, either on the bench, yep, or as a puck. Now we can work the blade flat as well and make sure there are no burrs. That just made me feel a bit funny having the teeth towards me. And there we go. So a quick little maintenance tip, if you like, the back of that blade now, any potential, didn't even see myself do that, any potential little burrs or anything are removed. So in review, double grip puck, hand size, bigger than tennis ball, about kind of softball size. That's really starting to go now. For maintenance on the folding saws, it'll do. It's a useful tool. For the loppers, I think it's going to be really useful. So how it just sits, we can sit the blade quite flat on the stone there, and that rotation, I think with a little bit of practice, this can be quite a refined action, and we're going to end up with a well-maintained edge on those loppers. For the axe, so it's more of a recap for those that are joining a bit later. For the axe, the beauty of the puck is where we might not be able to see the edge because of the concave nature of axe grinds. We get the feedback. We can feel once it's starting to bite. Yeah, there's much more of a vibration within the stone as you hit the edge. There we go. And then of course for knives, as a bench stone, a no-brainer. Now I did say something that we could do with, now this is a bit it could be a bit overkill, but something I might do myself actually, is on the back of the case we've got this smooth side, and I think that would be ideal. You get a little swatch of leather glued onto the back of that, and then you end up with a bit of a strop there, and that makes this a very neat all-in-one package there. If you're in the market for a sharpening stone, I would definitely say, you know, the multi-use within this. Give the guys at Outdoor Professional Products a shout. If this is a particular brand of puck you'd recommend. Hiya Carol. I had a go with Mark's Gransfors puck whilst we were out in Finland, and it fits perfectly in the hand. It's quite a nice feel. I think having the slightly larger just opens up the options. Yeah, it's bigger. You might not want to be carrying that around. If you're out on a trip, something smaller might be a little bit more appropriate. But where this is going to end up is in, I've just got a tool bag carry-all, and this will get chucked in one of the pockets there, because I think that'll do the job. So yeah, bit of a roundup. I'll drop a link in the post, so either you're watching it live or you catch up with it later on. Give the guys at Outdoor Professional Products a shout if this is something you're in the market for. But now something a little bit different. I'm actually after a little bit of input from you guys. Coming up with a bit of, again, this multi-tool-esque idea. Bear with me. So what we're thinking about is taking classic kind of thumbstick walking stick and just building in a few bits of not gimmicks, things that are actually going to be useful, things we're going to actually use. So a couple of ideas I've come up with so far, and I'd love to get any input from you guys. If there's anything that you're currently using a walking stick to do as something else, it'd be great to hear from you, because what I'd love to do is just try and combine a few things within one. So just to give you kind of a theme for where I'm going, what we've done, so thumbstick, useful, shooting stick, as a bit of a bipod. I've added, if you can see here, we've got a beaked notch there. So as a kind of foraging stick, you're hooking a branch to bring it to you. The cord is removable, well, he says. Remember how we did it. But what that does is it gives you a hand loop for a walking stick. It also gives us, so put a little toggle on it so you can pop that inside for a pot hanger over the fire. The idea, here it goes, that slides over the top, slides over the top of that one so it can come out. So the idea of the whole is we could also put a bit of cordage, wedge one end in the ground, a little bit of cordage there, and it can turn into a bit of a pot crane to hang on the end there. Tarp shelter, we're getting a little bit tenuous now, but tarp shelter to kind of form the apex of the shelter. I've cleared off a little bit of section there. What I'm going to do is get a bit of pyrography and write or mark up sort of 15 centimeter markings there. So if you're doing any animal tracking, trailing, anything like that, you can lay it down and get an idea of scale for photographs. I'm going to mark a 50, I've not done this one yet, a sort of 50 centimeter mark. So we've got a distance gauge, we can double that up for a meter. Smaller increments will be included there. I think just a ring round here from the starting point to mark 50 centimeters. Down the end, I am a fan of just the chamfered sort of walking pole end, but what I'm thinking of is a chisel point, fire hardened, to turn it into some sort of digging stick. So the foraging elements, we've got the digging stick, we've got the hooked beaked notch there for grabbing branches and vines and the like. Shelter, we've got it as a tent pole essentially for a sort of tarp shelter. Over the fire as either a pot crane with a guy at the top, or using the bit of cord and the toggle to hang inside a metal bottle over the fire. Let's see, a holder for sharp. That is a brilliant idea, Arctic Scavenger. Think of that, a little cutout section that you could mount a sharpening stone into. I like that. In the marker piece, I think, I hope that's what you meant. But yeah, cutting out a little groove where a small pocket sharpener, kind of like, let's see, is it this one? In there. So this is the DC full nibbing sharpener. So cutting out a section so that can sit in recess and be stuck in there. Top idea. I think yes, we'll definitely add that one. Well, I'm really glad I asked. So good ideas coming out already. If you think of anything else, I'd love to hear from you. I will credit you as much as I can, but what I'm hoping to do is just put together one tool does all, and yeah, don't need to turn it into a magic wand, but you know, real practical things. Thanks for your input, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you found this useful, and yeah, talk to you next time we're back in the shed. Cheers folks, take care.